It is so chilly this morning. It dropped to, I'm not exactly sure, but I think it was roughly like -20 last night, and woke up this morning and it is freezing in here. The house is definitely struggling to keep up. And, oh, no, wrong order. I am definitely going through all of my layers because I think today I'm going to be working in several of them. So right now I've got 3 long sleeve layers on and then a vest, and I have the same underneath as well. I've got a pair of tights, a pair of, wow, we can't see those, purple pajamas, and then my black work pants because it is so cold. The house is definitely struggling to keep up with this, so we really need to get the heating in on the second floor. All right, I don't know where in the storyline that this is gonna fit in, so editing Shannon, I apologize in advance, but this is just so cute. I had to share it with y'all because look what I found. I was out thrifting and I found the cutest shower curtain, and it has a corgi on it. That's so rare. I never find corgis on like household things, so I got it because, you know what, it's gray, which our shower is gray, our whole bathroom is gray. It's kind of depressing, and I was like, you know what, if it's gonna be gray, at least it can have corgis on it. And a whole bunch of other dogs. We got a little Australian Shepherd there. We've got what looks like a Chihuahua, a pug. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna dress up our bathroom a little bit. What can I say? Do with that what you will. Throw it in at some point, Shannon. I'm sorry. I just had to share it.
In the meantime, figured out where in the video this is going to go. And in order to do that, first, I think I need to show you the current state of our bathroom because brace yourselves, it is pretty dismal, but it's about to get some fun upgrades. So, just gonna flip you around here, give you a little tour of the world's most dismal bathroom. All right, here it is. Like I said, it is nothing to write home about. So, highlights include this nightlight being the only working light in the entire room. We do have a fixture up here, but it is not working. We also have holes in the soffits. That was what the emergency plumber ran before we even arrived at the house. Here is the current shower curtain. It's actually kind of cute and doing the job, but it doesn't have corgis on it. And then this is our gray plastic shower enclosure. Also, nothing to write home about, but it's doing the job valiantly. And then here is the first of the upgrades to the bathroom. Now, I didn't film me installing that, but don't worry because I have a second one, and I will put that up probably in our entryway here shortly. But if this looks at all familiar to you, it's because you probably watched my Montreal moving day video. If you didn't, you should. It's a really fun video about Montreal's moving day, which is the one day of a year that something like 70,000 households all change apartment leases because all of the leases finish on July 1st. It creates absolute chaos, and there's so much garbage in the streets on that day, and not just garbage, but like really good things. This is a IKEA rack, coat rack and hat rack, and it's in perfect shape, and I found 4 of them. Somebody was just throwing them out / giving them away on the side of the road, and I happened to have the classic IKEA Allen key with me in my toolkit, so I took 2 of them apart, and because that's all I could carry, I was on foot, took 2 of them apart and threw them in my backpack, and left the other 2 for some other lucky soul. So anyway, this is a massive upgrade. I'm super excited because previously we'd just been putting our towels in the sink while we took a shower. The sink that is, by the way, now also condemned. It's not even a working sink anymore. There's so much to upgrade in this house, and I think the first thing we're gonna do on the list of upgrades is we're gonna install this magnificent shower curtain. All right, it's already looking more cheerful in here, but next up is gonna be the string lights. And I actually found one of these guys, which is just you can plug stuff into it, but then it's got a little switch, so that's kind of handy, which means we can leave it plugged in and just switch it on when we need it. Hey, we've got lights! It's nothing fancy, but let me tell you, it's gonna make a huge difference. Next, we can finally hang up all of our towels. Okay, so this is already looking so much better than it did a few minutes ago. There's one last thing left to do on the list, and that is to give my toilet a good scrub, and I'm gonna do that with the help from today's sponsor, Blueland. So what drew me to Blueland specifically is that they are both people and planet friendly. And when I say that they're planet friendly, that is because there's no single-use plastic in any component, from bottles and tablets to wrappers and shipping. On the people-friendly side, they are hypoallergenic and they're sourced from vegan and non-GMO ingredients. So I got the toilet bowl cleaner starter kit, which comes with this reusable metal tin, also very cute, and a whole bundle of toilet bowl cleaners. So I'm just going to grab one of them, huck them in my toilet, and let it do its thing. Their toilet tablets are proven to work on a range of toilet stains, including rust, mineral deposit, limescale, and hard water. And we have a couple of those in our area, so these are definitely going to be very welcome. So if this sounds interesting to you and you would like to give Blueland a try, I'm happy to announce that they are offering a special promotion for my viewers. So if you want to scan the QR code on screen or click the link on the description, you can get 15% off of your first kit. So thank you to Blueland for sponsoring this video and for helping to improve my bathroom to be, slightly more tolerable.
The plan for today, at least for this morning, is going to be actually getting the plex, the piping from the basement all the way up to the second floor, mainly in the closet back behind that wall. That massive cavity you saw, the cavern with the chimney inside it, yeah, that's what we're going to be trying to do today. You can hear Phil in the background knocking out a couple bricks so that we have room to pass the piping. So it could go very well. There could be shenanigans. I don't know. It seems fairly straightforward, but then again, with this house, nothing is straightforward. So that's the goal. Wish us luck.
Once we drilled through to the basement, we were ready to run the PEX through all 3 levels of our house, which is definitely easier with 2 people.
I'm ready when you are.
All right, yeah, let me just get this broomstick out of the way. I'm ready.
Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it. Hold on. Yeah. Hold on. I'm trying to grab it. Down a little bit. Yes. Okay. Woohoo!
Now, last week I liberated this radiator from the wall it was built into, but this week we had the far harder job of liberating it from its own pipes.
Creative.
Keep going, I'm there, I'm ready. Is something stuck? Because it feels like a lot of threads.
Can you, I think, yeah, it's just the escutcheon. Yeah.
I need to cut it anyway. I'm gonna have to cut it anyway. Yeah, because the ceiling is higher, you know?
And it wasn't just one pipe that gave us trouble. Naturally, both of them put up a pretty good fight. Now, Phil really didn't want to bother cutting through those pipes, and he had correctly assessed that the crappy drop ceiling was not a valuable asset to the house.
Yep, try that, pull it out.
So he decided to just brute force it.
Woo!
Meanwhile, I was upstairs with a freshly freed radiator, making some very fun discoveries.
Ooh, more wallpaper.
Behold, another fun remnant of the house's past.
That is one busted pipe. So busted.
It might have been hit by me also. I'm not sure.
No, but there's rust in it, which makes me think it
Yeah,
exploded.
it might have busted.
So we need to run out and get some supplies to finish the rest of the plumbing, but my car is still condemned because it doesn't have a new transmission. So I'm gonna go to our realtor's house and borrow his van. Are you excited, Canal? Oh yes, oh yes.
Goodbye!
Whee! Let's go get some hardware.
Now, while we were here with one purpose in mind, Canal had an entirely different agenda. The find snacks as quickly as possible agenda. Another item we had on our shopping list was to get insulation for all of the heating lines, both those that we had run last fall, as well as the ones we were about to install in a few days. And you know that I can't pass up a trip to the hardware store without checking out the paint section and the mist tints. That's where I got the green that I used in my bedroom wall makeover, and in my mind, a cheap can of paint is better than a new pair of shoes any day.
It's kind of dirty. Just want to make sure they're not used.
So back to the house and the plumbing with our copper pipes in hand. Or rather, out the window. And where are the copper pipes going to go? They are going to be replacing the old cast iron ones in the main hallway, sort of a visual tribute to the heating system of the past.
PR plaster.
It's not a big deal.
No, I know. I just gonna have to add learning plaster molding to my list of things to do.
Hey, that's a plus in my book.
Yeah.
Okay, bring it as straight as you can. Wiggle it sideways a bit and push it towards the wall. Towards the wall. Yeah, now I'm gonna have to cut it.
Honestly, I don't think this joint would have fit through the hole in the floor anyway.
And following those pipes up to the second floor,
Okay, it's all yours.
Oh, that was very disagreeable. That's too long.
Are you able to fit into the big hole and
I'm working on, oh, okay, so that was just barely short enough.
Okay.
now this tells such a clear story to me that I just had to giggle when I saw it, because clearly whoever was installing the wallpaper and painting the baseboards couldn't reach all the way behind the radiators, so they did their best job and it looked quite good when the radiator was there, but now that the radiator is gone, it looks pretty silly.
That's so funny.
So we are under the floor. And this is the copper pipe that's gonna go in the corridor. And the top block is nice and tight. And I cut them the same size. And then I realized that the bottom one is a bit looser. So there's a little bit of play here. So I've got myself a shim. I'm gonna cut it in half. Because right now it's not quite thick enough. And then it should be enough to squeeze that in. And then we're gonna put a few screws, like 2 screws per side. And then we're going to be good to secure those 2 here so they stop wiggling around. So let's do that.
So this was a fun one to plumb because it had to be done in situ. It was already tight enough to try to squeeze those 13-foot lengths of copper pipe up through the floors without any extra bits sticking off of them. So things like these copper elbows had to be soldered in place, which, as you can see, it is quite a tight area to squeeze into. It is right next to the baseboard and the floor, but, you know, Phil did his best to solder. I did my best to film and lend a helping hand when needed. So yeah, it was good times. We got it done. Not my favorite.
I thought we'd stop for a sec and talk about what is going on with this room here, because the plan for how we heat it has actually changed fairly drastically in the last couple of days as we've really gotten our feet wet with the actual running piping situation for the rest of the house, and I thought we should talk about it. So this room has always proved to be a bit of a challenge because it's a large room with 2 windows on opposite walls, and we're just not entirely sure what to do with all the pipes that need to connect those heaters. The second floor in general has had this problem. As you remember, on the first floor, it was pretty straightforward. We just drilled down through the floor and hid all of the piping that ran between baseboard heaters in the basement. Nobody cares if there's visible piping in the basement. Here on the second floor, that's definitely much more of a problem. And here we have to run piping from that corner to this baseboard heater and then around the corner to this baseboard heater, and then it's got to go into that front room with the big window, the sunroom, and connect up with all the heating that's in there. So one option had been to just run baseboard heaters the entire length of these two walls. Now, that was Phil's preferred idea because it would be by far the easiest. However, it would be by far the ugliest option as well. I personally hate the look of baseboard heaters, and I think it's really cool. We have this lovely baseboard molding in here. Why would we want to hide that all? So yes, it might be easier to just cover the entire corner with the baseboard heater, even if the element is not in the entire length, but at least have the outer shell, the cage, running that whole length. That was one option, but why? Why would you do that? So, time to brainstorm option number 2. And what I came up with was, as I was trying to think of creative solutions, was there a way to hide the piping behind the quarter rounds? So we've got the nice tall baseboard molding, and then you've got this little baby quarter round where the molding meets the floorboards to kind of cover that weird junction there. And I was like, what if we could take off the quarter round and then maybe cut away the bottom inch of the baseboard and tuck the piping back there, and then get a new, larger, beefier quarter round, which we could then use to hide the pipes. And there is a universe in which this was feasible. I think we could have done it, but it was complicated. It required us to buy more materials. It was, we would have to mess with the baseboards themselves, making them shorter. That kind of seems hard to walk back if we ever change our minds in the future. Plus, we would have had to go buy a bunch of new quarter rounds. It was possible, but it seemed tricky. Then I had the idea that I think we're gonna go with, and that is, why don't we just tear out one of the floorboards? That would solve everything. If we tore out one of the floorboards, we could hide the piping in the joists like we're doing in the sunroom over there. So we're thinking that's probably what we're gonna do in this room. If I tear out this entire floorboard right here, so not the one that's closest to the wall, but one board away, then I can easily run the piping to the start of this baseboard heater. We'll just drill the holes in the joists like we've been doing before. Then there's the baseboard heater, drill down through the floor. This will all be open, so I can use it to run the piping to this far wall over here. And then because the joists are actually running this way, if there's this corner torn up, then I have access in that bay to this entire stretch of the wall. So I can run the pipe over to the very start of this baseboard heater over here. Then the next part that's tricky is getting it from the far corner of that heater into the sunroom, and I do think it's going to require me to tear up a little part of the floor over there, but Phil and I are pretty confident that we could just get creative, and with one little section of floorboard torn up over there, we can get the piping from the far side of this heater into the sunroom, and once we're in the sunroom, we're golden, because we already know what we're doing with that room. So that's where we're at. That's pretty much the game plan. We're going to tear up one floorboard there and then another little floorboard in the corner over here and hide the pipes. And I'm super happy about that solution. Honestly, it's going to be so much nicer looking. So the next step is going to be to get my tools out and start pulling up floorboards. Oi, okay, so I just finished filming that segment and was about to go downstairs when I heard a very suspicious sound that sounded like a lot of water leaking inside. And so sure enough, came into the next room. Here, we're just in the green room with the big bay windows behind me. And yeah, sure enough, there's a massive leak. There's water on the floor. The ceiling is damaged. Very much not ideal. So we're gonna go up in the attic and figure out where it's coming from. We're gonna get a bucket under here to stop the water, and then we're gonna probably throw some money at the problem later. RIP my wallet. Man, I already recorded this once and then realized my microphone wasn't connected, so here we go, take 2. Lots of fun, lots of fun. Can I do it as well as take 1? That is the question.